Welcome to Bench Points. If you have not joined us before and this is your first time, just because maybe you're not into college basketball until March Madness, you deserve to be here on the bench here with us, just like anyone else. But this is for some nutcases who are obsessed with college basketball and have been with us through this whole year. Man, March Madness has lived up to the hype. We've had some incredible moments, some upsets, but there's also been a lot of chalk, and there's a lot of things that have gone the way that everybody kind of thought they would. So we're going to kind of break those things down tonight and give a preview of the upcoming games that are set in stone. What game do we want to start off with, boys?
Like, I think one of the more interesting facts is after Iowa's win today, we've got all 9 seeds, which hasn't happened in, I don't know, like 20 years. I think that's kind of wild that
Whoa, did not think about that.
Yeah.
all the 9 seeds have made it to the round of 32.
I don't think I picked a single 8. And we're going to get fact checked like crazy on that because I've got a public bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, no, you had to because you had Ohio State trying to beat Duke.
Oh, yeah, I did. I think I wanted to change my mind on that. I don't know what I put in there. I was 48 beers ago.
Maybe. But yeah, no, this is it's wild. There's been a lot of wild events like that. I think this is a lot better opening rounds than last year, I think. For sure. I don't think it was the best ever, but it's been
the games have certainly been entertaining. Like the stories are just getting snuffed out left and right.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's unfortunate. But that's part of it. Like, you know, it's just interesting to see like High Point was such a high point. Then like what felt like the rest of the day on that was just 30-point blowout. Even by teams you didn't really expect to have a 30-point blowout. Like I thought St. Louis would beat Georgia, but I didn't think it'd be 9,000 points with 10 minutes left. That was embarrassing. The SEC should kick Georgia out for that. That was so bad.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There was a stretch like at the very beginning of the day yesterday. It was March Madness 100%. Like it was like the feel, the vibe, the energy, the closeness of the games. And then it went for like a 3.5 hour stretch where it's just like, I think between the games being blowouts, the food, the beer kind of sitting in, it just became a real tired Thursday. But then it picked back up in the evening. But yeah, there was a good stretch there. It was about as chalky as it gets.
Well, I mean, there were some fun stories. Like I think Kennesaw State surprised people. They had every chance to win that game and just kind of fell apart there at the end. I think Arkansas was surprised. I think people thought Hawaii would give them a battle, and I think it was 17-0 at one point. ACUF is just a monster, and Arkansas is playing their best basketball of the year right now, and that's a little bit scary.
I agree completely. And the one thing too is that I want to say this about ACUF is that, and we've talked about this before, but I love the way that dude plays and the way he carries himself. Like he just plays like a pro, and you can tell his teammates love him. He's just a solid leader on the floor.
But one of the things I always like to listen to, especially towards the end of stuff, is coach press conferences. Did y'all check out Hubert Davis or Randy Bennett's?
Hubert Davis was easily the most uncomfortable I've ever watched a press conference.
Oh, I haven't really seen it yet.
I mean,
obviously, he was stumped by hard questions of why did you go to a 6-man rotation? And why do you think this team struggles with free throws all year? Those were the hard hitting questions he didn't have answers for. And so
why ever since you took a team to the Final Four on a really off year, you've continued to have off years? How about that? Nobody asked that one, but I was.
Yeah,
I was like,
there's
come on, Hubert. We talked about you at the beginning of the year.
And then Randy Bennett for St. Mary's after they got beat. Like I know St. Mary's wasn't at full strength. They were dealing with the flu, all that. That sucks. Terrible timing. Can't really do much about it. And then I can imagine being like half sick and then going against a buckyball team. That's got to be miserable. They lose. Dude's at the press conference, and all he's doing is blaming his players while they're sitting next to him. They're like, there was no leadership. So and so didn't step up. So and so didn't do this. We needed more out of this guy. And like, I mean, they're all sitting there next to him, and he's not ever pointing the finger at himself. He's all Mick Cronin at it, like pointing next to him, which I thought was crazy. I mean, North Carolina felt like they're in an interesting situation because North Carolina is very much a school that's keep it in the family.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last guy that was mentioned for a head coach that wasn't related to Dean Smith in some way. And Roy Williams basically said, hey, you're hiring Hubert Davis when he left. So they're in a pickle because Hubert Davis probably needs to be fired. Like He said every year has been worse than the next. They've not made it past the first round since he's really had his teams involved. But at the same time, like Roy Williams seems to be so involved in that program.
Yeah.
So do you alienate him by firing Davis? Like,
is he the coach anymore? Pardon my candor here. Fuck him. He's not the coach anymore.
Yeah, but like you don't know. That's the thing, North Carolina, man. Somebody's pulling strings behind the scenes, and Roy seems to be the one, and it's like in charge without being in charge, and you don't know how much money of that NIL that they need to get in guys like Caleb Wilson to like that. If you piss Roy off, goes away. Like I don't know. I think they were in a very stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I don't know how to fix it because the guy that was supposed to be the up and coming young guy, Wes Miller out of Cincinnati, doesn't really seem to have it anymore. He's not as pretty of a project anymore. So I don't know where you go because Jerry Stackhouse isn't the guy. He struggled at Vandy. I don't know where you go from here.
Now, here's my thing is we talked about this at the very beginning of this podcast. We were talking about coaches who were on some kind of theoretical hot seat. We got raked over the coals because Hubert Davis did take a team to a Final Four, and great. It's fantastic. There's a lot of coaches that have backdoored their way into Final Fours. Mike Davis took a Bobby Knight team to the Final Four once. Not that special. Mike Davis wasn't that good of a coach, and he got fired promptly. Like, regardless, if Roy Williams is the person pulling the purse strings, North Carolina's got bigger issues than Roy Williams and Hubert Davis.
That's what I was alluding to.
And in modern era college basketball, it's follow the money, right? North Carolina, if that's their situation, if they're being held hostage, one, absolutely stupid scenario to have yourself in as one of the top premier basketball schools in the country. And then two, go to the drawing board. Guys, you're North Carolina, get it figured out. Not saying any of this is real or anything like that or putting any weight to it, but if that's the case, Hubert Davis needs to go. And it's regardless whatever relationship he has with anybody else, North Carolina expects winning. It's one thing to be like a huge diehard black and gold Purdue fan. It's one thing to ride and die with Matt Painter knowing he's taking you to one Final Four in 20 years because Purdue doesn't know success like North Carolina does. North Carolina is used to winning, and if you're not winning, it's not going to last. I mean, look at they were used to winning during the Cold War. But guess what? The Cold War is over, and they haven't won since. So they go through coaches every 5 years because it's not what they expect their program to be. Well, you're 5 years in, your program's still what it is. Same thing with North Carolina. At some point, you got to start looking really, really hard about this whole keeping the family thing and start finding your Dusty Mays and your Todd Goldens.
Sometimes you can't rekindle the magic that Bobby Knight let in.
Yeah.
Like Dean Smith to Roy Williams. Like, I wasn't directly Dean Smith to Roy Williams, but they had one guy that played 1 year and they won like 6 games. Forget Matt something, but you're not going to be able to pull that trick every time. So it's strange. Do you think Caleb Wilson not being there gives him 1 more year?
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Wilson being there like completely changes that game. Caleb Wilson is a game-changing player, and sometimes you're the victim of your circumstances. But how many circumstances are you going to be the victim of?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's always an interesting thought when your best player, like a world-changing player like that, is out. Can you go and go, hey, like it wasn't totally my fault. I didn't have my best player. Like like an easy excuse to buy 1 more year.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting, like, kind of way to think about it. Also, there's some fun stories, like not just all bad stories, like Nebraska winning their first game ever and it wasn't necessarily close.
Yeah.
That was wild.
So that was like the antithesis of the Ohio State TCU game because they were happening at the exact same time, and you watched the Ohio State TCU game was just an absolute war, and it was fun to watch. RIP Bruce Thornton's career because I actually really enjoyed watching him play, even though he torched my Boilers so much. But Nebraska came in start to finish, controlled that game, controlled the narrative, and looked like the Nebraska team that started the year off 20-0, as opposed to the one that kind of like Purdue their way into the tournament. Obviously, Purdue, came out strong and rattled off 4 straight in 4 days for the Big Ten tournament. And Nebraska was kind of going the opposite way, but it was nice to see them play Nebraska basketball that we saw earlier this year because they are a phenomenal team. They can score, they can throw punches and munches. They're fun to watch.
And when they're going, it's a fun brand of basketball. And Hoiberg's a great coach. It's like I loved that. I was sad to see Thornton go, but he extra sad to see him go out in such a bad game too.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude played 40 minutes and was giving it his all. It's not like he was not. He just didn't things weren't working his way. TCU was being very physical, and that kind of surprised me that threw him off because dude's built like a tank anyway.
Yeah.
And so the physicalness that was shocked me that threw him off. But one thing I want to bring up about this game, I've seen a lot of this because I've been playing on Twitter a lot. People going for Jake Diebler for calling that timeout right there, and where they still had it in the backcourt, and then they had that terrible play set up. That's not all him. He's not the one that called the timeout there. The players called the timeout. He was one that once they got closer to half court, but you only have one timeout and it got called. Like you can't. What are you going to do? But that's
I don't think people are jerking at that.
Yeah, well,
you chirp about anything. I mean, it's.
Well, Ohio State fans, they don't realize they have a basketball team till February, and so they just assume everything is great, and just come in and think they know everything, even though they haven't watched the first 4 months of ball. But Diebler is doing a great job there. Give him a little bit of time here. He's improved each year, and they won the games they needed to get in the tournament because it was questionable, and he got them there. And you're one shot away from going to the next round. That timeout wasn't, he didn't design to call that timeout there. And I doubt he drew the play up like it was ran. I think there were some players out there that didn't execute properly, but so Ohio State fans just back off a little bit. Let's let Diebler live here for a moment. I think you've got a good young coach going.
Yeah, no. And again, Ohio State, I think they have unreasonable expectations because they had such a prominent run under the Thad Matta years for so long. And there were always perennial Big Ten contenders, and they've had a couple shots at, Final Fours and all that fun stuff. But it's just not been the same for a while. And Diebler, as much, flack as he gets from me, I mean, he wins big games. I mean, he's done a good job. He's built a pretty decent program, and he's gotten people to stay. Like Bruce Thornton's one of those guys where it's like he could have made millions of dollars going anywhere else in the country, and he stayed with Ohio State even though they weren't winning. And that's a culture thing. And if you're building culture, you can build success.
It's I don't know. I like where they're going at the moment. But to kind of switch gears, we can hit some of the games that have happened today because there's been several blowouts, but I think the blowouts were expected. Purdue by 9 trillion. Iowa State didn't let Tennessee State sniff their realm for, I think, 20 minutes of that game. It took them that long it was just bad. Fins up, RIP.
Yeah, some of the stories are completely snuffed out. Miami of Ohio found out why nobody wanted them in the tournament to the tune of getting 30-piece by a Tennessee team that is not particularly known for their offense. I'd say 30-piece. I think it wound up being 22, but it was never really that close against a Tennessee offense that has at times been anemic and not getting production out of some of your best players.
Ament didn't score today. Did not score.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you told me Ament doesn't score at all, and in fact only takes 3 shots against Miami of Ohio, I'm telling you it was probably an 8-point game, high end. But no, it was the Miami of Ohio found out what it's like to play the big boys. And the coach, he's like, oh, this wasn't an upset. This was an expectation. Like, okay, no, this was the expectation. This is what we all thought mine was. This is what happens when you play a bottom 10% strength of schedule. You go into a team that, a lot of people have a lot of questions about Tennessee. I know I've been high on them at times. I've been low on them at times. But this Tennessee team reminded them why power schools don't play them. And it's because this was a waste of time. This was a blip on a radar. And I apologize to any Miami of Ohio fans. You had a great, fantastic 31-0 season. It was great.
Should be celebrated. It should
celebrate. 100%. You guys want to play in game? Fantastic. Own that, wear that, buy the t-shirt, buy the hat, whatever you guys want to do. But you guys found out why SEC teams and Big 12 teams and Big 10 teams, they don't schedule you because you're a waste of time.
Yeah, it wasn't that they were scared of you. It was you would have drugged down what they need to get the higher seed. Right. And then I wasn't trying to blow past it. I was just trying to do some highlights. But hey, we got a new assist king that I don't know that it will be touched ever because guys don't stay around. Braden Smith. I mean, it's cool that his first assist was to TKR and the record breaker was to TKR. That's just a fun story on top of a great story. That's just fun.
It was almost the exact same play too.
Yeah.
You watch
almost every assist to TKR is the same play. If we're honest.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, that's a big moment because now, I mean, it's 1083 and climbing now. So assuming they they're getting one more game, and you can count on maybe 9. And if it continues, I mean, this can compound. I think there is one player in college basketball that has a legit shot at this, and it's Jeremy Fears. And that's if somebody doesn't cold cock him in the middle of a game and reduce his chances for assists because he's got concussion syndrome from like just messing with the wrong dude. But no, this is what we talked about with Bruce Thornton. When you create culture, people stick around. And look, I'm a Purdue fan. I bleed black and gold. I have my ups and downs with this team. Like I have, like it's like an abusive love almost, where I just feel like they're constantly like raising me up and letting me down and all that fun stuff. And I know, like, as a 42-year-old, like, it's ridiculous. It's absurd. But if you're a Purdue fan, you know what this is like. And I've had my criticisms of the big three. Today they came out and played. I mean, in the first half, it looked odd, but that they came out and adjusted. They played well. They scored well. It was a fantastic game. And for Braden Smith to get this record and for it to probably never be broken is incredible. It's a truly amazing story in college basketball.
Oh, for sure. Like it's one of those, like, and I mean, what's wild, if you go back and watch Hurley play, like they play a very similar game.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to Coach K talk about that after the record breaker. He was saying, like, he was pointing out how similar those two guys are, which is like a great compliment because Hurley was long thought of as one of the greatest point guards in college basketball ever. He got got short in the NBA with the drunk driver and all that. I mean, so there's a chance that Braden Smith does something in the NBA. Doubt it. I think he's a little short.
I think he'll be one of those TJ McConnell guys. You put him in, you get an energy boost, you get the crazy pass, you get the layup against the 7-footer and all that fun stuff. And it's a fun story and it's a fun energy boost. But then you have to get him out so you can get somebody who's like 6'5", 6'6", and more athletic in.
Yeah. Like you said, he can find a role. He's going to have to work for it. And it seems like he will. One blowout today that I was kind of impressed by was Texas Tech. Akron is a good team. And that game was closer than the 20 points it ended up being. The Texas Tech looked good. They didn't really look like they were missing. In the second half, you couldn't really tell that they were missing an All-American player, possible Player of the Year type player. They looked fantastic. Jump shots were going. The defense was turned up. I mean, LaJuan Watts played well until he fouled out. That was the first time you could really say that. Bang Boye was he was doing okay, but Christian Anderson was everywhere. He had 4 steals and was 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 18 points. But Petty couldn't miss. It was a fun watch. Not taking anything away from Akron. They were close for most of that game. I mean, it was a 5-point game at half and hovered around there just till like the last 8 minutes or so. Then Texas Tech just took off. Akron couldn't hold on to the ball, and it was just night so quick.
Yes. So very impressed because I had Akron winning that game. I didn't think that they would hold a candle to really March Madness competition without JT Toppin. But I've also said that while they've beaten some top teams. So I just keep being wrong about this Texas Tech team. But no, they looked good. Akron fought. Seen Akron play multiple times this year. They're a team that can get hot. They can fight. They can get back into games. And every time that they try to do that, Texas Tech just snuffed them out. The one game that we didn't talk about too much, and we probably need to go back to, was the High Point Wisconsin game. I think that deserves, for one reason only, if anything, Chase Johnson getting his first 2-pointer of his career. Brad, did you?
I was putting on that when we got to High Point, Arkansas, but yeah, that was fantastic.
Brad, did you watch that game?
Yes. Yeah. And when they said that this is his first point that he scored all year, I was watching it with a buddy of mine from work. He said, "Is that the first point he made all year?" I said, No, for the game.
No, he's a 48% 3-point shooter.
Yeah. I was like, that was unbelievable. It was a huge basket.
Yeah. We were watching it live. I don't think he knew how high he jumped, because otherwise that's a dunk. He literally backhanded the rim as he finger rolled that in.
Yes.
He jumped out of the. I don't know that he still knows how high he jumped on that. But, I mean, the dude went on a run there. The 2 steps past half court and just yanked it, and it didn't even touch the rim, just whap. And then, 2 back-to-back threes later on, too, from the wings. I mean, it's unreal. If you're a Wisconsin fan, I'm sorry. Like this felt like whoever drew High Point was going to get beat.
Yeah.
Because this team is one very good, very, very good for any level. And when you have stories like that with the guy doesn't like he was 0 for 4 from like inside the arc on the year. So like you can't lose him, and somehow you kept losing him. Like it was unreal.
Well, it's not losing him when he doesn't even dribble coming across half court. He just makes what looked like a floater from 40.
It was just crazy. I mean, that was so much fun to watch. It was like you had that one going on, and you also had South Florida at the same time. A bad first half killed South Florida.
Yeah,
we were high on South Florida,
Mhm.
and in the second half really showed you what should have been there. But the 1 of 17 from deep murdered that team.
yeah.
Fantastic game as well to watch. Like it just sucks because I was really wanting that South Florida team to do well because I thought they were definitely good enough. The East Vandy game was interesting that game was on a yo-yo for each team. Like they both had 10-point leads at some point, and then there's the coin toss landed on Vandy at the end. It was unreal. And then what do we feel like about if you're AJ DeBenza, when the dumbest report I've seen is he's going to take a couple weeks to consider what he's going to do?
Well, here's the thing. I know 2 years ago we would have been like, yeah, there's no question you go to the NBA. That's ridiculous, right? He can make $10 million this year.
Yeah, but
playing
then
college
that year
basketball.
that delays his second contract in the NBA. That's going to be a $180 million contract, $200 million.
I get that. I get that. But if he's looking at the draft boards and like it just doesn't look like what he wants, or if it's not the team he wants to play for or something like that, I mean, he's got options. And it's not like, oh, you're going back into poverty at $10 million a year. He's going to be the best player in college basketball next year if he goes. Depending on what school he plays for, if it's BYU or anything like that, he's going to be a National Player of the Year favorite because he's just that good. So, I mean, it's
35
not as financially devastating as it was, 2, 3, 4 years ago because of the NIL era and because of the money that some of these teams are shelling out. I mean, you look like if we're looking at the climate going into the transfer portal last year, where like Braden Smith was getting offered $8 or $9 million, where Bruce Thornton was getting $7 million, where Yaxel was getting $9 million offers, DeBanza is a $12 million dude, right? And
they've got that cap coming in this year for next year.
Yeah, I mean, do they have the details hammered out?
I think like anything above your team getting above 20 million or whatever, something like that, or some number like that has to be approved through one of the big 3 audit teams. It's like you can't just be getting paid to play. You've got to actually do things, and it has to be a legitimate service. You can't just be like mow the coach's lawn and get paid $200,000 every time you mow the 6x6 area.
Which hold on, that's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. It's just like this risk you take now. So I don't know. But I mean, I didn't realize this. He had the 3rd highest scoring freshman season ever behind, I forget who the first was, but Kevin Durant being in second. And I mean, he willed BYU to anywhere near this game. He had no help whatsoever for 90% of that game.
Watching that game, like obviously BYU, it was obvious without Saunders that they didn't have a legitimate outside threat. But watching Texas play and then watching Gonzaga play, does anybody feel like Texas might be taking this game?
Yeah, I'm leaning Texas there. It's as long as Volkaitis could stay on the floor and not get in foul trouble.
Yes.
Gonzaga didn't show me anything to be scared of whatsoever.
No.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Kennesaw State was right there the whole time. And they don't have a senior on that team, Kennesaw State. Like, that's a young mid-major team that's just floating around with you. And that shouldn't be happening for a 3 seed. Like, and Texas is going to be the play game that's up in the Sweet 16. But it's wild. Because, I mean, Gonzaga has no outside shooting. And then when St. Cyr or whatever, when he found out, they looked so lost on offense. Like, Graham Ike went Kobe mode and took over and did stuff for him, which, I mean, he's good enough to do that. But there's no backup ball handler whatsoever. They don't know how to steer that offense once he goes down. And now you're going against a team that plays fairly decent defense that's very guard heavy with Mark, Swain, Pope, Weaver with the worst haircut of all time, and Wilter, and they've got guys that play like a very guard heavy team that it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially if Texas shoots as hot as they did. I mean, and they weren't that hot; they were shot 36%. But if they shoot near that, Gonzaga's going to have all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, no, that's what I was kind of picking up from those.
I mean, and this is something that's frustrated me all tournament so far. I'm seeing a trend with these referees, especially around screens and stuff. They're calling the result of the play and not the play itself. Like a great example that's in my head right now is Boswell's first foul in the Miami Ohio game. He gets bumped into the Miami Ohio player, and because he's running and the Miami Ohio player falls down, it's now a foul. But if that guy doesn't fall down, it's not a foul. Like,
right.
They're calling the fact that the guy fell down, that happened several times in like many different games. Just because somebody hits the ground doesn't mean we have to call a foul. And that is very frustrating because it's pansy this basketball game that needs to be a little more physical. There were several moving screens like that were called that were the sole reason they're called was because the guy ran full speed into a screen and like ran into a Toby Awaka, and Awaka doesn't move, but that guy falls down. And now it's a moving screen. That's not, I don't know, that's frustrating.
Yeah, they're reacting more on physicality and emotion than the actual definition of the rule. Like if Awaka stands there like a brick wall and a guy runs into him, bad on you for running into a brick wall. Yeah, it's not Awaka's fault that you misjudged physics.
I mean, not just Awaka. I mean, there's several and hopefully that gets cleaned up. But and then I don't know. Did y'all have anything like that watching these games that's frustrating you?
No, nothing that really stood out from an officiating standpoint for me. Like the touch fouls that were starting to be called in like 20 and 30 point games were bothersome because it was just like, why are we calling that? Like, why are we blowing that whistle? Or like there would be like I saw it earlier today, oh God, I can't remember what game I was watching, but a dude was posting somebody up and backed somebody down, and the guy grabbed him and fell back with him. And by definition, that's a hook and hold, right? You grab onto somebody, pull them down with you. But they called a foul on the offensive player for posting them up the way, like just backing them in. And like the game was like, it was already a 32-point game. So it was like, okay, if you're going to do anything, swallow the whistle. Like, let this clock run out. If you're blowing the whistle, call the F1. But to do that, it just felt like they were doing this as a way to like give opportunities to teams that were getting blown out to like maybe get a guy to score or something like that. And I hate that. Even if the game's like all decided, that's not what basketball is. Just swallow the whistle. Like nobody's like cool. You got somebody in, you called the travel or the timeout or whatever. I like that. I'm 100% all for that. But don't call bullshit for the sake of calling bullshit.
And kind of along those
I think not having a definition about what truly is traveling.
Yeah,
that's something it's been happening all year, but I just feel like I saw it a ton for the past couple of days. Like the whole step through around the paint, and drawing somebody up, and literally taking an additional step to gain the contact. It is a mess.
I mean, there was a massive one missed today in the Kentucky game. The guy took 4 steps before he launched it up to Garrison. That was a very pivotal dunk in overtime. And then, golly, I cannot remember the game, but there was the one we were watching, Sam, that the dude like danced up on top of the key before he like threw it in. He like just moved his feet for no reason, and it didn't get called. I can't remember. Like there's a lot of travels that I think because the rule is so weird now, the refs aren't sure, so they're not watching feet as much, and you're getting away. There's been a lot of feet shuffling that should have been called a travel that's not being called. That rule's going to the wayside. But do you have a commercial yet you're pissed off about? You're just tired of seeing?
Okay, this was, I haven't seen it in the March Madness, but I saw it a lot in Big Ten play and in the tournament, especially when Purdue was floundering. Every time Braden Smith was in a commercial, I was just like, get off the fucking TV and play some.
Yeah, the Boozer Twins one with the phone.
It's fantastic.
It's getting on my nerves because you see it every 3 minutes. It's one of those that like starts out great, and then as you've watched 24 hours of basketball over the last 2 days, like okay, do not play that one again because you've played it every 2.5 seconds. And by the time the Final Four is going, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a great commercial again. But right now, ready to set that one on fire.
Speaking of Duke, are we ready to start previewing tomorrow?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, first,
Before we do that, though,
Oh, yeah.
let's talk about our bracket challenge.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Brad's like, hold on. No, this is we got a pretty good turnout. 86 total entries. That's great. Yay. We've got a handful of people that have got a chance at winning this first round. It's down to probably five or six people, depending on how things go. Like, I'm going to post it tomorrow on all our platforms. Some of these, I don't know who you are to reach out to. So just like put a comment on whatever platform it is. You see it, let me know so I can make sure you get your discount code. B2B has got the lead right now, all by himself. Then March Bradness. Then Bench Points Brad, look at you. They're tied for second. B Haggerty 13 and Jesse Campbell 16. That's the only other people that really have a shot. They're a little bit on the outside there, but it seems like it's B2B's to lose, depending on the last 4 games. So I mean, it's fantastic, and so I want to be able to get you your prize. So please let me know who you are. And that doesn't mean everybody else is dead. Like, each round is a completely different game, and then the overall thing is totally different. The overall is really tight, but right now it seems like it's B2B's to lose.
All right, let's get into our preview.
I mean, me and Sam are hanging out, and not in great. We didn't do so hot. We're right around the middle there. Yeah. So we'll just forget that me and Sam's exist. How about that?
Look, if the teams we picked would have just won.
Yeah, it's easy.
Like,
of course.
South Florida hurt me.
South Florida hurt my wallet.
Yeah.
I was banking on that one. Same thing for UCF. They ended up getting it close. They cut it down to 4. Took the money line. I almost took the points. The points out of it sitting nice, but it is what it is. I will say, before we get into our preview, I will say that I think the Louisville and UCLA both played better than I expected them to play. And I think they actually beat those teams. I think South Florida, obviously, the poor shooting, like you said, that didn't help. But I really think those were 2 of the teams that surprised me the most. Is there another team that surprised you all, like really, that played super duper well, or a team that played not as well as you as expected?
Alabama.
I think
Alabama played out of their mind. Filine was incredible, unstoppable, unbelievable, with all the bad juju hanging around and all the jokes and everything, and going against a decent team with Hofstra that gave them a battle for a while, but then when they just separated themselves and looked like a good Alabama team for the second half of that game, it was Hofstra didn't know what to do.
Yeah, Hofstra played fantastic at times.
They did.
Let me rephrase that. Like, it was like sometimes erratic basketball, but I think that's what Hofstra wanted. But
I do too.
To your point, when Alabama settled in, especially the last 5 minutes of the game, they stretched that lead in 18-19, and it was starting to put it to bed. I was impressed. Not having Aiden Holloway, for moving the most amount of marijuana. I was impressed. Alabama's kind of been up and down, but if they can spam threes, they're dangerous. And today they proved why they're dangerous. We're going to get into this in the preview. I wasn't surprised on how well they played, or because I'm mainly talking about Siena here. I'm actually surprised by Duke, and I think when we start getting into previews, we can touch on that a little bit more. But there were some concerns there, and I think a lot of it has to do with how important Ngumba is to that team, and
Yep.
what they're doing around that.
Yeah, let's just kick it off there.
Let's start that.
Start with Duke TCU. To touch on what happened, when Duke came out, and I'm shocked that this was able to happen with one Shire in his tournament experience. Brown being part of the Final Four team that didn't make it, and the Elite 8 team that didn't make it. Well, he was injured on that one. Same with Evans and Harris. How do you get to the point where you overlook a team is unacceptable. That should never happen, and it about came back to bite them big time. And really, Sarr and Malik Brown was really struggling with foul trouble, and Kaminya and Harris, it was a 7-man rotation, and Harris might as well not have been there, and Kaminya had 4 minutes of value. The rest of the time, those 2 guys were were useless. Anybody not named Boozer was useless for a big chunk of that game. Evans didn't come on till late. I mean, I'm happy to see him with 10 rebounds. He was playing well, but like this was bad. It was so much one-on-one play too that's not how you've beat people all year. You've beat people slinging that rock around and finding the right player. It's like 11 assists is terrible for this team, and it's not like they turn the ball over like crazy. There was so much one-on-one play, and I don't know if that credit should go to Jerry McNamara or not, but that was red flags everywhere, all over this game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely concerning. And since we're on Duke, that kind of performance, that kind of overlooking, that kind of effort is not going to win you a game against TCU, who has proven to be the team that like just has alligator blood. They don't go away. Like you could have them down 12 and then 2 minutes later you're one. This TCU team has hung tough with every big boy that they've played, and they've won a few of these games. And I think if Duke doesn't get their head right here, we might be seeing the first number 1 seed go down. Now, that being said, I still think Duke has the talent to win the whole thing. But this is a very, very dangerous spot for them, considering how well Siena played against them, even not subbing in anybody at all until the dude fouled out with 15 seconds to go in the game. Duke really took advantage of that. They're not going to have that luxury with TCU, so they've got to get it sorted out. And I think they will. I think they'll be fine. I am predicting Duke to cover in this game. It's 11.5 right now. I would bet Duke to cover. However, if they show any of the same symptoms, then we've got a real big disease here.
And here's the issue you run into with that. Like, I agree. I think they cover. I think Shire gets their heads right. And I think the strength of this TCU team is also the strength of, especially if Ngumba comes back, the strength of Duke's team was just going inside. And so it doesn't work out as well. But if they have any of the same issues where they're trying to play hero, everybody's trying to do hero ball, and they're overlooking this TCU team because they're a double-digit favorite, like, they're going to be beat soundly. TCU is a solid team. They shoot the ball well. Free throw line that hurt them against Ohio State. Let Ohio State come in, but they rebound fairly well. They take care of the ball. They're a good team. Jamie Dixon's a decent coach. Shire's got to get there. Normally, if this happens in the season, you overlook a team like this, the next practice, you're just running everybody's ass off and just physical. But you can't do that because, one, you've got 1 day of rest and then you're playing again. 2, you're already thin. And you can't, it's not like you want to run extra minutes on Ngumba. Like, so I don't know exactly how Shire is going to get that message across and get that through. But, oh boy, everybody's blowing smoke up Shire and deserves to so there for a bit for being a good coach, and then he come out and lay this egg. Like, but if you want all that steam to come back, you cannot lose here. You've got to be touching the Final Four, get real close before you go out. Otherwise, you're going to lose all that steam and all that respect you were gaining. But like I said, I think Duke is too big, too strong. I'm thinking Ngumba plays, but I don't know at this point. I thought he would play this game to shake the rust off. But if we get the same kind of performance out of Sarr, who can't hit, Harris, who can't hit, and Evans doesn't show up till the last 5 minutes of the game, this could be very dangerous for Duke. Because like I said, TCU is a very, very good team.
All right. What about we stay in the East region and talk about that Louisville-Michigan State game?
I think this is a fun game in the sense where it's like, I don't think Michael Brown's playing. Do we know?
He's already been called out.
I think it's still a fun game. I think Michigan State runs away with this, though. I don't know what's the spread on this one, Brad. 4.5. Yeah,
okay.
I am. The matchup indicator is actually favoring Louisville, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I think Michigan State is entirely too consistent, and I think they're better coached. I think their roster construction is so weird. Their shooting is always subpar. They looked fantastic in round 1. They look ready to play. Izzo himself said, is like, I wouldn't be surprised if this team gets bounced in the first round or wins the whole damn thing. I think this Michigan State team is capable of it. I think it's a shot in the dark, but they play so damn hard, and they play like they have a coach that they love. And that's the thing that I'm looking for in this game. I'm going effort over skill here.
That very well maybe when it comes down to, I think this game is very simple to figure out which side of you on. If you believe that Louisville can't repeat their performance of the amount of threes they hit and shooting 52% from beyond the arc, or if you believe in Izzo and think he is going to be able to stop that and think this Michigan State team is gritty enough and good enough on defense to slow them down. Because Louisville's proved all year they really don't have an inside game. Now they're not that great of a rebounding team. So I think it goes Michigan State's way too. I think it stays tight, but I think Michigan State covers, but I think it's like they win by 8 or something like that. But if McNeely is shooting like he did against South Florida, this Louisville team is very hard to stop because Conwell is going to do whatever it is he's going to do. He's going to get his 15 to 20. But if you have McNeely going 7 to 10 from beyond the arc, they become really hard to touch because where do you help off of? It's hard to tell. Especially if like Kobe Rogers is playing well or Frew's out there and Hadley's playing decent, like it becomes really hard to figure out where the help comes from. But the thing is, McNeely's not been able to do that this year. He's not been able to put a handful of games together. So I think this is where Michigan State kind of takes advantage of it. I think there's maybe in the first half, Louisville's hanging real close, maybe even has a lead. But I think towards the end of this game, strength and effort and coaching goes Michigan State's way, and Michigan State ends up covering this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Good breakdown.
That's what I'm here for.
Let's see. And then in the South, we've got really the Vanderbilt. Well, I think there's a couple interesting games. I think the Vanderbilt-Nebraska game will be one of those fun games. This will be super entertaining. And then you have the Texas A&M and Houston game that could be really, really, really interesting.
Which one?
So yeah, Nebraska Vandy. Like Nebraska is actually favored in this game, both on the matchup indicator and I think they're getting 1.5 here.
I thought it was Vandy favored.
I think that's a slap in the face to Nebraska. Like,
yeah, Vandy's
Nebraska.
You're having to lay 2.5 of Vandy.
Is it 2.5 now?
Yeah, it's moved up to 2.5. Vandy's, at least on FanDuel, is minus 2.5.
Yeah. I think this is a slap in the face to Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to beat the brakes off of Vanderbilt. Now, come here first. Tell me how wrong I am if this doesn't go the way I think it's going to go. But 8:45 tomorrow night, I'm predicting Nebraska to just beat the brakes off of this Vanderbilt team. I've watched enough of this Nebraska team and watched enough of this Vanderbilt team where, like, as Vanderbilt was on their schneid moving backwards, Nebraska was moving forwards. Now Nebraska had their schneid, right? I just have so much fun with this Nebraska team that I just don't see it. I don't see a 1.5 favorite. I don't see a 2.5 point favorite. I don't see a 53% chance of winning. I'm more on the line of Nebraska's probably got a 70% chance to win this game.
Yeah, I think I'm with you here. I think when the way Nebraska's playing in that game, if they keep that going, like Sanford was incredible. Mass played well. Lawrence was good. Hoiberg did Hoiberg things. Like, he didn't need to score for this team to be good. Burke played great down low. So they had guys coming off the bench that were hitting. I think Frager shot too many threes, but he was doing fine. Otherwise, like, Vandy has got a much tighter rotation and a lot less production coming off the bench. They really depend on Tanner to really get everything going. And I don't know that that's enough because, like, McNeese had multiple double-digit leads throughout this game, and you do that to Nebraska, they're not going to let it go like McNeese did. Also, Vanderbilt uses the free throw line to their advantage big time in every game, and rightfully so because they're a great free throw shooting team. I just don't see Nebraska fouling enough to keep them in. Plus, that was a home game for Nebraska. I mean, Vandy's coach Byington was already talking about that too. Like, that arena was whatever color red Nebraska uses. That whole arena is that way. I don't know how far they were from that arena, but that was an impressive turnout. And they're all weekend. If they were there on a Thursday, they're going to be there on a Saturday. And so, like, and there might be more of them there now because those Troy tickets got sold to somebody. So that's and that's big
all
for
17.
Well, 17 more red shirts in there. But Lord, like, for a 3-point shooting team like that, man, you see a couple go in, that crowd gets crazy, you get another turnover, and then boom, that next one is a heat check from 30 feet, and all of a sudden you're shooting into a bucket the size of a car.
Yeah.
That can be death to Vandy.
And you have 5 guys that can do it at all times on the court.
Yeah, they're going to spread them out. I mean, McLaughlin is an athletic guy, but he's really the only threat they have inside. Vandy has inside. I don't know. I think this is a terrible matchup for Vanderbilt. I don't know. I think Nebraska really carries the water here.
What was the other game you mentioned, Brad?
Houston,
Texas A&M.
Yeah, Yosemite Sam game here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like this matchup. I think Texas A&M is dangerous here. I don't believe Houston will win this game, but I do think Texas A&M is capable of beating them. It's like you play them 9 times, Houston wins 1, or Houston wins 9. All you need is 1. I think they're capable of it. I don't think it'll happen, but yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one.
This one is a very interesting matchup to me because the styles that they will play. Um, I don't think Houston's going to cover, but I mean, Sinak he's a 7-footer that wants to be a guard so bad. So he should be able to take advantage of this game because that's the issue with Texas A&M is they don't have a lot of strength inside and size inside. So they play the buckyball where they're pressing the whole time and it's going to be fast and going. And you worry a little bit if that plays in the hands of like Flemings and who's on his sharp. But I think the defense is strong enough from Texas A&M as long as they can keep scoring and don't go on one of those droughts where like they did against Florida where they were like 1 of 17 1 point and just missing layups and because they're going to create the turnovers. Houston has been sloppy with the ball this year, and Texas A&M was great at forcing turnovers. I think they've got a decent chance to win this game, but I think gambling wise, I'm going to take the points with Texas A&M. I think especially while it's at double digits, but this should be one of the more fun, interesting games to watch because of one, the proximity of these 2 schools is kind of fun that they're this close. Where are they actually playing at? I can't remember.
Is it? It's not San Antonio, is it?
No, they're in Oklahoma City as well. So like they're both close, both going to be very close there. So it should be a fantastic atmosphere. It should be a fantastic game. This is the most interesting matchup I saw on the board for opening up. Like I thought Texas A&M would beat St. Mary's, was all over that and got that, and now we got Houston. It's gonna be interesting to see because Houston's not been that dominant of a team this year, so it'll be a lot of fun.
And now for the West region, a couple games there. The High Point Arkansas game, Arizona Utah State, Texas Gonzaga. I think we will know what the best game in that I think is one of the most interesting games in the West region is who Purdue's going to face, either Miami or Missouri.
Yeah, that game
Those won't be till Sunday, and the Utah State game won't be till Sunday either.
Yeah,
it's just already decided.
For tomorrow, the game there's a couple games I'm looking forward to here, but we touched on it before. The Texas Gonzaga game tomorrow, I think is going to be to me that's going to feed families because like I think this is a ripe 11 beats a 3 seed second round game. I think Gonzaga's getting 6.5, 7 on this one. Yeah, and it's like I think this is like where you see an upset. Like the way Texas played, the way Gonzaga played, I felt like Texas left stuff on the table, whereas Gonzaga like fought for their life.
Yeah, and a big part of that was Kennesaw State kept going to that 1-3-1, and they had that diagnosed. Like they had that beat every time. Every time it was a dunk from Fogel. Fogel had to be the happiest guy on the court every time he saw that 1-3-1 come out because it was either an offensive rebound for him to dunk or he was getting hit on a backdoor cut and dunking it wide open. EK gets in foul trouble. That's been his issue since he played at Minnesota. The same thing with Volkaitis. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch, but neither team has a replacement for their big guy. It's just Texas has the more guards, and guards win you in March. That's a definite thing, and it will always be it. It's just I think we've got 2 mediocre coaches coaching 2 mediocre teams. So I think I'll lean Texas too. I think the amount of guards because Grant Foster has not been the player we thought he would be in this year. He's not been able to shoot well, and he's not affecting games a lot. And I just don't trust anything about this Gonzaga team to get it done. I really think this is a fun one for Texas because that line's already moving towards Texas. I forget what it opened up at, but on some places you're getting 5.5 instead of the 6.5 now. The money is moving that towards Texas. I think Gonzaga is a much weaker team than they're given credit for. They're a very weak 3 seed. We talked about this, and that like for some reason Santa Clara, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga got just credit for beating each other up, and that was apparently all they needed to jump their seeds way up. But this should be Texas all the way.
Go
ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Brad led into it. The Arkansas High Point game. Forgive me, because I did pick. I actually got I think High Point playing Arizona in the next round here. I'm gonna ride the High Point train here. Forgive me, Arkansas fans, I think you guys got a fantastic team. I think the High Point train keeps rolling here. They're just, what's the word I'm looking for? Plucky. Like they're not afraid to take a 36-foot three. They go right at you. They have nothing to be afraid of. They have nothing to lose. And I feel like Arkansas might tighten up against this team, whereas High Point's going to play loose. Again, this is a 99 times out of 100 Arkansas wins this game, but I am riding the High Point train here. This might be our story.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to do in this game. I'm so lost because everything, like analytically, is telling me Arkansas. Like what you've got, Acuff, who's just unreal. The way Brazil is playing right now, he's everywhere. Ewan has been has stepped up great. Malik Thomas is playing pretty well. But then if you watch that second half, their foot came off the gas, and that's worrisome because, like, I know it ended up being 19-point game, but there was a couple times Hawaii was making a run, keeping that, and it was around 12 or 13, and then they just woke up just enough to push it back out. If you sprint out on this High Point team, and Arkansas does that, they let High Point come back with the way that Johnston kid shoots. I mean, and it's not just him; that whole team shoots well. It's going to be scary because, like I said, they've got they weren't supposed to be here. They've already won the game they were supposed to lose, and so there's no reason for them to get tight. So yeah, they're just going to be able to launch games. I don't know, launch threes. It's going to be so much fun. So my gut and heart and everything wants to pick High Point because I think they are they are the kind of team that Arkansas will struggle with. I just have such a hard time going against anything Acuff does because that dude is just unreal.
Yeah, to me, it's just like if we're gonna write a story at all, right now it's around High Point. And so to me, in my heart, I want the story to continue, whether or not it's based on reality or not. Brad, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, Arkansas, I mean, they're sexy right now. I think that's what makes it's very hard to go away from that.
That felt like a Zoolander, Arkansas. They're so hot right now.
They are so hot right now. Yeah, I think that's I like what they're doing, and I mean, but High Point, gosh, like you said, they will take some risks, which make this game would be fun to watch. I think there's no doubt about that.
But what's interesting to me is High Point's coach. He went in and saw I've got two guys on my bench that are way outplaying everybody else. Right now, way outplaying two of my starters, and just went to them. He had two starters play less than 20 minutes, and then he had two guys on his bench play more than 20 minutes. And Cameron Fletcher played 33, so he played pretty much the entire game. I mean, that guy, he was a very high recruit into Kentucky, went to Florida State for a few years, played well there, played on Xavier last year, and now he's here. He's experienced. He knows what to do here. Going to make the right plays. They've got the guys to do it. They've got a coach that's adjusting on the fly and doing well. If I'm an Arkansas fan, I'm extremely nervous. I still think Arkansas wins this game. I can't get past that. I think as much as I don't want them to, I think this is down towards the end of the game, and it might be tight, or Acuff just takes over and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
And I think the one game we haven't touched yet is St. Louis, Michigan. Does that Robbie Avila have a shot against mighty Michigan? He looked good.
He did, but Georgia's been so bad, so I don't credit.
Yeah, it's like comparing. That's apples and oranges right there, right?
Yeah,
you beat Georgia, and your reward is one of the top 5 best teams in Big Ten history.
But I mean, Avila's like they've got the pieces to do it, but they're going to have to shoot better. You can't go 9 of 28 from behind the arc because you're not going to get the inside's going to be shut down fairly quick with Mara and Johnson and Yaxel. And I'm not sure what you do with Avila on defense. He's not quick enough to stay in front of Yaxel, and I don't know that he's good enough in the post defensively to take on Morez or Mara. And I don't know if you're going to need some. Deion Brown's going to have to step way up, and I think you're going to have to pressure their guards because that's how you get to this Michigan team is you take advantage of where they're weak, and if you can keep it out of the big guys' hands and make Cadeau and Burnett or Yale or McKinney have to score, that's how you get to this team. And I trust Schwartz to figure something out. I don't think they've got the talent to get it done.
Yeah, I'm just doing a quick live look in. Kansas absolutely mollywhopping. Florida might score 1 million points. Miami and Missouri has been fantastic so far.
Yep.
But UConn came out and just looked like world beaters at the very start of this game. And Furman, for like 3 or 4 possessions now, are playing with just an enormous amount of confidence. So something to kind of keep on your radar. I know it's 6 minutes into this game, but keep it on your radar.
UConn's down Stewart and Demery. They got called out. I think they're sick, which is wild. There's a lot of guys catching the flu now. Yeah, like that was announced a few hours ago. It's not like it's
shoot.
Yeah, so that the UConn team that was already thin and struggling offensively lost a big offensive weapon and a key bench player. But the talk like VCU, who is like feels like they're always an 11 seed that's going to upset somebody. It's like every year, even when they're not in the tournament, it feels like they still upset somebody in the tournament somehow as a left seed. Do they have a chance against this Illinois team?
We didn't even touch that. My bad. I forgot we completely missed that one.
I missed that one. That's my fault.
No, I don't.
That Illinois team that came out and played yesterday. Oh my God.
Yep.
They could have put up 1,700 points if they so desired. I know they weren't playing any great team, but I don't know that I've seen Illinois look that good this year. That was just unreal.
I've seen them that good once offensively.
You saw one guy look that good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the team shot in the last 3 minutes. They shot 79% from 3. Keaton Wagler went 9 for 11 on step back 3-pointers from 29 feet. I've seen them look good. So I think this Illinois team I think mentally skip the preview on this one because I feel bad for VCU.
VCU's got a lot of work to do on this one because they're not going to get the gift of playing North Carolina and Hubert Davis where they go up 19 and then just give you the game back. You allow this Illinois team to go up 19, the game's going to end at 30. Not good. I mean, they put up 65 in the second half. That's just stupid. Mirkovich was nearly perfect on the day. Everything he did was perfect. Eiler was great. Boswell played well. This is the Illinois team that we kind of thought was going to work their way to like winning the Big Ten. This is the version of that.
Yeah.
If they keep that going, this looks like a Final Four style Illinois team.
Yeah, 100%.
Just got an update from ESPN that said prosecutors allege drug transactions were found on Alabama's Aiden Holloway's phone for documents obtained by ESPN.
Woof.
Dude.
Yeah. Bench behavior.
Yeah. Well, NIL was apparently not paying him enough. So
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But this is the 17th felony that Alabama basketball has been associated with in the last couple of years. So I think they got some internal reviews to do on how they're building their program and how they're kind of managing these guys.
Not if they keep winning. The same reason that stalking case for Todd Golden nobody talks about anymore is gone. The reason nobody talked about Boeheim killing a kid, just running him over and he got a 2-game suspension. It's fine. Same thing with Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Got that kid killed. He won some games, so we don't talk about it anymore. But if Nato starts losing, then we'll start hearing about it. But
speaking of not losing, we need to try to make sure we're not going to lose this game.
Hey, look, our coach is not Jerry McNamara. He plays his bench in the blow.
Yeah, much like the 1 through 4 seeds so far in this tournament. This is another blowout.
Yep.
See you next one.